We're back, and I'm not shaking the camera anymore. My voice is still wrecked. We've got a fan going because it's hot. So I'm hoping you can hear me. We'll see how this goes.
This is the July in Georgia edition, so fans, white noise.
Have to deal with it.
Yeah, cold beer.
Mm-hmm.
A cold beer.
Makes it a little bit better.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Cleaning out my throat.
Yeah, man.
It was Hall of Fame Day.
It was Hall of Fame Day, which is awesome. Because all the guys from when we were younger are going in. So, I mean, it's been that way for a minute, but still, like, everybody that gets in now is somebody that we've seen, somebody that we've seen play. That's totally cool, man. I never thought about that when I was younger, but when it starts happening to the guys that you watched, it's pretty dang cool.
Makes you feel old.
Yeah.
But, you know, still, it makes me feel right, too, because I like that guy. Yeah. I told you that guy was going in. Yeah. He didn't believe me.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, when you peg somebody, it's kind of fun, man. Like I was telling Jared, this started last year for me, when Piazza got in. That because I mean, let's be blunt, Mike Piazza versus Pudge Rodriguez is not a conversation. That's like people have a problem with the Michael LeBron conversation, and I do too. I hate that comparison because come on, stop. But Pudge Rodriguez was eminently better than Mike Piazza behind the plate was a hump. He was not good back there. He hit a lot of home runs. That's great. But as a catcher, defense really is your priority. But I like Mike as a dude, and I'm glad he got in because basically, if Piazza's going in, it literally means you've got Bonds and Clemens. They're the only guys that anybody cares about what they took anymore, and that's okay too. There's one of them I don't like, and one of them doesn't need it, so that's okay. Yeah. But Piazza goes in, so Pudge Rodriguez gets in. I'm so happy because he's one of the best players of my lifetime. Oh, he played for the Rangers with those steroid allegations. Piazza got in. It's over. Forget it. Forget it. So that was awesome. And then Bagwell was a guy we both really liked. So that was super cool for Baggy to get in. And then Tim Raines has been... Tim Raines, I hope, is the last guy I ever have to say about time about. So I'm very happy that he that's just awesome that he got in.
Finally. Yeah,
that's real cool, man, because that's three guys I really liked when I was younger. And again, it also it speaks well to where we're headed, because I'm just tired of the guy took steroids and he took stop. Y'all, conversation's over, because first things first for the most part, and oh my gosh, let's not say it out loud. Remember, those things didn't become illegal in baseball till like 2006. I mean, it was way and it's ridiculous, man. But no, there wasn't no rule against it, so okay.
You can hold it against somebody.
Same thing I've told the man 1,000 times before. You can give me everything under the sun, I still can't do it. So it's fine. I got no problem with people doing that, but I'm just glad that we're finally over the sanctimonious let's have a fit. Mainly because no one says a peep about the NFL. It's like, dude, I'm totally good with that.
Blind eye.
Yeah, I'm totally good with NFL players taking whatever they need to be able to walk the next day. But I'm okay with all of it. I think that's fair. Having a huge problem with baseball but not saying anything about football, that seems, what's the word? There's a word I'm looking for. Contradictory to me.
Yeah. It's
hypocritical.
It makes sense. I mean, and I can't sit here and tell you that I would never do that. If it's your job, part of your job, if it's the difference of you being in AAA, hitting 250, and going to the show is a needle and some drugs, and go ahead and do it.
See, that's it. That's something we've talked about, and I completely agree. People that look at the steroid issue in sports in general, and baseball in particular, as an ego issue of like, well, that guy just wants to hit 500 home runs, go to the Hall of Fame. That's not what makes it an epidemic. Getting off that damn AAA bus is what makes it an epidemic. That's what it's about, because the deal is this. If you just make it to the bigs and you get that one guaranteed contract, you fail a test the next day and they send you home, you still going home with whatever you signed for. That's where that came from. That's where it came from. And that's also the huge thing. Well, drug culture in the NFL is different. You're right, it's different because the money's not guaranteed. Guys aren't taking drugs in the NFL for ego either. I think guys in the NFL take drugs for survival. It's the way the game's played. You'd be dead if you didn't. So none of that stuff bothers me a bit for whatever reason. But I'm totally with you. People thinking it's this ego thing. It's for most guys. For some guys, for Bonds it was because he's just like McGuire, Sosa, for real. But for most dudes, it's survival, and it's just like you said, man. It's getting out of the minors, man. Just get that one big contract. I've got no problem with that at all. Especially guys that aren't from here. Because the gulf from middle America to astronomical millionaire is expansive. But guy leaves Caracas and comes off the bus and gets to no, that doesn't bother me a bit. It's economy. It's economics, not ego.
Yeah. So one of these days I'm gonna make that Cooper Sound trip. I've never done it. I would like to do it one day.
Me too, brother.
Hopefully I'll get that done. Because we did have a little bit of a Braves connection today with Sherholtz going in.
That was awesome, man.
And so that was cool. That's why the past 2 or 3 years we've had like really good luck on that day, and so that was fun to see. Because that's the guy I've always liked too.
I completely agree, and I think that I appreciate the Holy Trinity in Atlanta. I totally get that, but we talk about this a bunch, man. That I am a Greg Maddux guy. He's my favorite player ever. It's just that when you hear about him being kind of a prickly pear, it's 100% true. It's totally true. I like him. I'm not dissing him. It's just that's the way it is. But if you ask me for the Mount Rushmore of the Braves' success during that time, no offense to anybody and no offense to Maddux because I love him, but the big four, in my opinion, are Bobby and Tommy and Smoltzy and Sherholtz, and it's because those four guys were there the whole time.
Yeah,
they were literally there the whole time, and that's kind of awesome. Why not Chipper? Again, he was drafted early, but those would be the four biggest guys. Now all four of them are in, and that's awesome. And really, for the whole time, I think Chipper's probably the only guy left that's going to get in. So once he's in, everyone will be in there. But there's something really special about having the first four. I'm glad you mentioned that because that was super cool.
That'll be 3 more years he'll be in, or maybe
I don't know,
maybe 2 years.
It might be. I should know. Well, he retired after 2012, and I think it's.
So next year he'll be eligible.
Is that right?
I think it'll be the next class. He'll be eligible.
Is it 5? Because I couldn't remember if it was 5 or 7, but I was like, I think 5. It is 5. I think you're right. Yeah. That's awesome. Cool,
so
man.
We got something else to look forward to.
That's awesome. We'll get everybody in after that because that's one of those guys. Chipper is a guy that I live in Atlanta, so of course I'm biased, but Chipper and Ichiro is a guy. Pedro Martinez is a guy. Pedro's in the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying that. Those guys are going to go, but we talk about the tales of the steroid era. Where all you hear about is people hitting home runs and doing all this stuff and la-di-da. What about dudes that played that era clean and were still that good? John Olerud's a guy like that. These are like clean baseball players. Pedro is like probably the most fascinating because not only was he a pitcher in the height of the steroid era, it was 99 and 2000 were his 2 best seasons, and they are like shocking history book. That can't be real. That's got to be an error, or that's got to be a typo. Great. But it gets even worse when you consider that he played in the DH League and the AL East, which does not have the biggest stadiums in the world. They're pretty, those stadiums are pretty tight. It's just unbelievable when you factor all that junk into how good he was. It's like, there were people, I remember we were both big on, well, Pedro only has 200 wins. He shouldn't go. And anybody trying to pretend that Pedro Martinez is in the Hall of Fame frustrated the heck out of me. So I'm glad he's in, so now people will shut up about it. It's like, you have got to be, look, man, I know you're not supposed to say this out loud, but here's the deal. Koufax got in for 4 years. That's it. That is it, because he was garbage before those 4 years, but he was so good those 4 years that I have no problem with him being in. That extends to other people too, though. See, I'm like that with Pedro. 97, he was the man, but 99 and 2000 alone should get him in the Hall of Fame. No problem. That's before he got a World Series ring, so now he really deserves to go.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's nice.
There's nobody debating whether or not he should be in or not
anymore. Thank God. That's the thing, is like before it happened, people are gripe and they finally shut up. So I'm like, good.
But that's one thing we were talking about earlier today, and one of the frustrating things about this day every year is the Pete Rose thing comes up.
Yeah, that's the new steroid. Pete Rose is the new steroids. That's the new conversation.
And I just when it comes from one of the guys he played with, and essentially from everything I've heard having to do with Johnny Bench, as long as he is alive, it's not going to happen. Because not only is Johnny Bench revered amongst baseball fans, amongst the Hall of Fame fraternity, he's on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And when he has a problem with it, it's never going to happen. So just get over it.
Yeah,
Move on to something else.
I'm like Rose, like I am with Bonds. Do they really need it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The only thing that would come...
What good would it do now?
Yeah, the only people that really should support Pete Rose going to the Hall of Fame are people that hate him, because the problem is this. Remember when Michael Jordan got in the Hall of Fame and did that salty, I mean dead sea salty speech? You ain't seen nothing compared to Pete. The only thing that would come from putting Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame would be giving him enough microphone to hang himself, because he would. He'd get up there and shoot his mouth off and talk that junk. That it speaks for itself. There's no reason for him not to be there, except that he ain't. Let it go. It's not a problem. There's way more fun things to talk about. We were discussing that earlier. There was an interview with Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, and Doggy Perez, and the subject came up, and it's like, what do you, Bob Costas, because he can't help himself. Oh, what do you think about Pete Rose's chance to get in the Hall of Fame? And Joe Morgan immediately excused himself from the conversation because he's on the committee, and he's like, man, I can't discuss it. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Johnny Bench didn't say anything. He just kind of rolled his eyes like, God, here we go again. Why, am I ever going to have a day when I don't have to be asked what I think about this? But Doggy Perez, I thought, had the most interesting response. Doggy took the conversation and spun it on its head, because he was like, if we're talking about teammates of ours that aren't in the Hall of Fame, when are we going to talk about Davey Concepcion? And it was very cool, because when he said it, immediately Johnny Bench is like, yeah, let's talk about Davey. And despite having just said, I can't be influenced, I need to kind of not be influenced and not put my take out there for Joe. Even Joe was kind of like, yeah, we'll talk about Davey. I'm going to be quiet about it, but I'd back Davey to go.
Joe was like, I just said.
Yeah, for real, man.
But talk about it.
Even with that, that's the thing, is he totally broke it. Like, I can give you my opinion on Pete Rose. He ain't going in because he gambled, and it's the one damn rule they put on every locker room in baseball. It's the only rule there is. But even him, even like, I'm abstaining.
Do all the rats you want to, just don't bet on it.
Dude, despite abstaining from the Pete Rose vote, it's kind of like, yeah, Davey should be in the Hall of Fame. It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Because Davey should be there.
I'll risk losing my seat on the committee for this guy.
Yeah, seriously. Hey, y'all don't fire me over Davey. That was my 6-4-3 tag team partner, man. Let's go. Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's several guys that I love. The Is So and So a Hall. It's fun. It's a fun conversation. There's a lot of guys. I don't know of our lifetime. I don't know of anyone that's been passed over that I'm just like, well, that's a crime. You know, I just don't, because I know everyone in this state's supposed to say Murphy, and I just don't. I don't agree with that. I think Murphy's 3 hanging in the outfield in Atlanta. That
matters.
Yes,
that matters,
that's very important, because to us, that's the Atlanta Hall of Fame.
He's too good for it.
It's the elite. The Braves Hall of Fame, of course, Murph's in there. Having your number retired is elite. He's not baseball elite, but he's Atlanta baseball elite. And that's the thing. It's like, it's kind of in the same thing with, like, talking to Bill Belichick about, well, what do you think about the Patriots going 16-0 this year, Bill? What do you think, Bill? You go undefeated? Go undefeated this year, Bill? And the frustration that I have with that is, like, you are literally taking a dump on what they just accomplished. Well, you know, you won the Super Bowl, but the Giants got you that one year. You weren't undefeated there, were you? Oh, man. It's like, no matter what. And that's like Brady and the Patriots, like the most sacred cow in American sports. And even they get dissed for the stuff they accomplished. Like, come on, man. And it's kind of the same thing. Like, you're telling me that Murph's number hanging in the outfield's not enough for you. It's enough for me. That's a big deal. Because, well, he was the best player in the 80s. I'm as sorry as I can be, but there was a man named Schmidt who played in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I love Murph. Murph was the man, but Murph is in, like, the Human Being Hall of Fame. Not everybody has to go to the Hall.
You have to draw the line somewhere.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And
there's tons of guys in there that are not as good as Murphy, but you know what? It doesn't. 2 wrongs don't make it right.
I think just being associated with some of those terrible Braves teams hurts him.
Yeah, it does. Doesn't hurt Mike Trout any. Still have to hear about him every day.
Yeah. So that's, you know, or the long and the short of it. When it comes to the Hall of Fame vote, you're like, yeah, almost, but not enough.
Yeah. I'll give you another guy. I'll give you a guy that I love.
Kelly Gruber.
I like Kelly. Yeah, Kelly would have a hard time getting his number hung up in Toronto. No, I'm totally with you, man. Now, Kelly was good. The guy, but this is a guy that gets people hot and they get in a big conversation. It's like,
if you say Joe Orsulak,
no,
I'll tell you.
So Joe Orsulak makes me want to, like, drive off a bridge that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, Pete Rose, my hiney. Orsulak, Pat Listash, baby. It's Nomar. A lot of people are up on Nomar and say he's not a Hall of Famer. And I love Nomar. Nomar's like a tech boy, and I love him to death, and it's all good. But they're not going to retire his number in Fenway, much less put him in Cooperstown, and that's totally okay.
If he got in, it would be the Sandy Koufax rule. Like, awesome dude, but doesn't. And I'm not saying Koufax doesn't have the numbers to be in, but that guy doesn't have the numbers to be in.
Yeah.
So that you need more than that. You need Murph needs more than just being one of the nicest guys I've ever met to get in.
He went 2 MVPs for terrible teams. I get it, but it's just, again, there's more than that. It stinks. Bobby Bonilla, is Bobby a Hall of Famer? No. I mean, it's just, come on, man. These are like big-time players from our lifetime, but they're not there. And the thing about Nomar also, man, is Nomar had 3 wonderful seasons and about 6 that were real good. But in the complete reversal, he pulled a Mo Vaughn is what he did. Yeah. All of his Boston days were just fine, and when he left, the injuries caught up with him. And that's okay. But I absolutely hate trashing guys for the end of their career. I was just talking about how great Pedro was, and I'm not talking about the Mets or the Phillies. I don't like hitting guys for the end of their career. But yeah, it's just I love Nomar to death, but he didn't belong in the Hall of Fame.
If they put in Dale Murphy and Nomar Garciaparra, Don Mattingly would be at their front door to kill both of them the next day. Yeah,
Mattingly's a guy that he's one in that conversation. He really is, man. Like when you start talking the best players of the 80s, the first guys I think of from the 80s are like Ricky Henderson, George Brett.
Ricky's in.
Oh yes. These guys are. I think all these dudes are in, man. The top players in the 80s, man. You got Ricky, and you got Molly, and you got because I can't mention one without the other.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of guys that are like really good but don't. Oh, I'll give you the Dale Murphy. Here's the Dale Murphy. If Murphy deserves to go, Saberhagen deserves to go. You telling me Brett Saberhagen's a Hall of Famer? Because he won 2 Cy Youngs, but he's and World Championship too. But he's not, and it's totally okay. I love there were 3 guys that went in this year. I think that's cool. I don't need 26 people to go in every year. It's not the WWE Hall of Fame where you have to put a celebrity in every year. It's like don't do that.
Yeah. So I'm just glad with what we got.
Oh yeah,
so that's the cool thing. That's the cool part. The day was a good day.
I totally agree. The last couple of classes,
Tim Raines can get in. I don't need Sammy Sosa in.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Tim Raines doesn't get in, I'm not going to be satisfied.
Me neither.
This isn't the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that one irked me. I'm with you. That one irked me. So I'm very happy that he's in there. But yeah, it's like there's several guys, man. Like McGuire's never getting in, and it's got nothing to do with steroids, and the numbers aren't there. Sammy Sosa, well, those guys hit 500 home runs. That's not the magical linchpin that it used to be. It's not what it used to be, man. Neither one of those guys are getting in, and it's got nothing to do with drugs. Palmeiro's not getting in, and that's all drugs, and that sucks because Ralphie's such a good guy. But again, I mean, he's the sacrificial lamb. Is then you've got one of each set. You've got a black guy, you got a white guy, and you've got a dude from Cuba. I think we just saw that graphic today, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's
Cuban.
Yeah, Cuba. So there you go. You got one of each. You got a complete set now. So we have to keep our complete set of ostracized drug baseball players. So it sucks. But
equal opportunity.
Oh yeah, dude. You can't let Clemens in. You can't do that. It's no. If you're gonna do it. So it's fine, whatever, jerks. But yeah, I'm with you, man. So no Sosa, no McGuire. A lot of guys, a lot of dudes that were real good. It's cool, man. But yes, it's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Real Good, and I'm okay with that. I like it being exclusive. I mentioned John Overwood. I love the guy to death, but he's not going, and he shouldn't. No one's ever going to even mention him to go. I'm just glad I got to watch him play because it was fun. It was like if I had a Josh's Hall of Fun to watch play, Overwood would be first ballot, baby.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, man.
What's up with Nick Saban?
Oh man, I was griping to the man.
His bull mask today.
I was griping to the man about Nick Saban, and it's not Nick's fault. It's just a grumpy, crappy football hipster in me coming out. And I'll try to make this as fast as I can because this could be very boring, but I'll try to make it quick. So Nick Saban has decided that the Power 5, anyone watching this that watches college football, you know what the Power 5 is, and Nick has decided that playing all these stupid games against UT Chattanooga and Louisiana Lafayette is dumb policy, and we should all be playing each other all the time. Power 5 should schedule against the Power 5. You get better games that way. It's more interesting. It's more exactly. The problem is that I don't know a single college football fan who has not. I've been talking about this very thing for 25 years of my life on this planet. It's why I can explain to you the way they should fix it, just like that. And when you suggest the playoff is garbage, you had 2 SEC schools in there. ESPN has told all these new fans that their playoff is a good thing. When all of us that have been around since before there was a BCS knew the BCS was garbage, and this is just one extra team. The only thing that changed about the BCS to what you have now, man, is that the computers you put the numbers into are all in Bristol, Connecticut, as opposed to 9 out of 10 of them being there. It's the same thing. You get to the end of the season, you find the team that has the best ratio between fewest losses and generating the most money for our advertisers, and they get to go. How in the world y'all think Ohio State gets in all the time? Y'all want to gripe and fuss about how terrible the Big Ten is, but Ohio State gets in all the time. I'll tell you how. It's because they're the new Notre Dame. Ohio State generates more money in ruined garbage like t-shirts that get thrown away than half the SEC combined. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. They get in because they're worth money. It's ridiculous. But I'm glad Nick brought it up. I just think it's so funny to see all these sycophants that kiss ESPN's butt all of a sudden now on the radio. Well, maybe Nick's got a point. Yeah, Nick's got a point. It was a point 10 years ago. It was a point 20 years ago. Yes, there is no reason to have anybody that's that elite play anybody that's garbage. It doesn't work. Here's how you fix it. Here you go. It's called contraction, friends, and it's the reason nobody will talk about it, because you've got everybody joining Division I because the football money is so good, and it's so good, and they're so rich, and there's so many teams, and oh my God, it's so wonderful. 48 teams. Simple as that. You have Division I, you have Division II. Division II basically will be what you have right now without the bullcrap playoff, and I'll get to what you do instead of a playoff then, and it's going to sound insane, but you got to appease everybody, and controversy is what we love about college football. That's your second division. We'll start there, and then I'll tell you about the top division, then we'll move on. The second division basically is what you have right now. That's where your ACC, your SEC, your Pac-10, your Pac-12, Big 12, all the Pac-10, Pac-12, all those guys exist. The Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Peach Bowl, all the Peach Bowls, all the games, the bowl games exist there too. You play the regular season. You have the conference championship. You bypass everything resembling a playoff, and you just put people in bowl games like they used to. And at the end of the season, once you've got your winners, I'll tell you what you do with them in a second. Here's what you do with your top division. You have 48 teams. You divide the country into 4 quadrants. You have 12, 12, 12, and 12 as best you can do geographically. Because this whole league is going to be based on money. Yes, that sounds stupid, but it's not the big guy's responsibility to take care of the little guy. And we don't do that here. That's communism, buddy. No, that's what I'm saying. Just take the 48 most profitable teams in the country and put them in their own league. 12, 12, 12, 12. Everybody plays everybody in their own division. That gives you a division champ. You take either 2 or 4. I think 4 would be better, because then your playoffs are 16 and it gives you a nice symmetrical number, because if you win, you've played 15 games total. League of 12 gives you 11, 16, 8, 4, 2. So it's all good. But if you want it to be 8, that's fine too. Either the top 2 from every one or the top 4 from every one, there's your playoff. Then you play them off, there's your national champion. Well, why would anyone be interested in the second division if you've got a top division? Here's why. And God knows if you reference soccer in a reference to football, you might be wrong. But the NFL could learn something about making money. If you want to learn, follow soccer leagues, because it's absolutely pathetic what they're worth. What you do between Division I and Division II is this, man. The bottom 2 teams in every one of those little leagues we just made up get relegated to that second tier, the bowl tier that we talked about. That's what it's about, and I'll tell you why you'll be interested in that in a minute. The teams that win obviously win. The teams that lose go down. Then the top 8 from the second division go up. So you always have this rotating cast of actually who's in that top division. Believe me, promotion relegation works, and it would be hilarious. I'm an MLS guy. I love it. I'm glad they're doing so well. But it would be hilarious if a different sport in America beat them to a promotion relegation system. That'd be awesome, because it works and it keeps people excited. Why would anyone care about the bottom of the table? Because if you are in 6th place in one of those leagues and you've got people beneath you, you better believe that last game is going to be interesting. If it's the difference between staying up or going down, it's interesting. I'm a big soccer fan. I watch it a lot. I'm telling you, it's more interesting to watch teams try to not get relegated than it is to try to watch them win the championship, because usually the championship's determined early. Relegation very rarely does not go to the last day, and usually more than one game on the last day. It's awesome. That would work, and it'd be cool. Why you care about the second division? Well, first things first, there's only 40 teams up here. And I understand if you're new to the sport and you like the bandwagon and you say, go, if you're one of those people that says, go Bama, because you don't know what Roll Tide means, I'm talking to you. You're going to need to stay in the top division because you want bandwagon teams anyway. But those of us that actually love our team, you would follow them, especially if they're trying to get themselves promoted. It'll work. It'll be real cool. The other thing is this, man. You wrap up the first season before Christmas, and then you can do all that stupid New Year's Day. Oh, it's got to be New Year's Day. It got to be New Year's Day. You can have all that crap for the second division. It's the only college football left. People will watch it, and you see who gets promoted. Or at least you should see who gets promoted. I believe if you win the orange, the sugar, the cotton, or the rose, that should be an automatic promotion. That's that. Of the teams that are left over, 4 teams get selected, not based off of winning, But basically because ESPN wants them, and I'm only leaving that to you because every time you talk about cleaning up the playoff, well, the controversy's good for college football. You need that controversy. Cool, I just built it in for you. You got it. Because the other 4 teams get completely randomly selected. So when a 7-5 Notre Dame gets promoted, I don't want to hear no complaining because you wanted the controversy. But every single thing I just said obviously didn't take that long. It took a little bit. It took 6 minutes, I think, man. This is not new. Thank God Nick got some attention for it, but the idea, people just like chasing their tails and that's, well, how would we fix it? How could we make it better? Ask anybody that knew there was such a thing as college football before Tim Tebow. We'll tell you. We can give you an idea. And it might not be what I just said, but I guarantee you they could spit it. They could spit it in about 6 minutes too. So everyone's got an idea. But that would work. Promotion relegation, I haven't heard anybody else say, but I'm right. That would totally work. And it's a good idea, but I don't mean to be fussy about Nick because he's totally right.
Yeah.
It's just like, seriously, I know y'all think he invented the game. Him and Tebow and Tom Brady got together with God and George Patton and invented the game, but
don't leave out Stevie Sunshine.
You can't. I love Spurrier so much. That's one of the most entertaining human beings ever. But yeah, it's like one of my favorite things about him is introducing Mike Wilbon into the vernacular, because every time Tony Kornheiser refers to him as Michael Wilbon, I laugh every time. I love it. Mm-hmm. So that's the deal. Yeah, you want college football fixed, man? Send this video to the NCAA because I just fixed it for them. I'm telling you, it's way better than what we got, and it's better than what you could get, because even like the 16-team playoff with conference champions, the crap we just laid out is way better.
Yeah.
Because 16-team format, you're still going to have people playing garbage teams, but if you've got 11 teams in your region and you play them all, there you go.
Heck yeah.
It'll work.
That's what's up.
Heck yeah, man. And the Hall of Fame's good. made me happy this year, man. Asuka should go to the Hall of Fame. I'm ready for Asuka to go to the Hall. I'm already ready for her to get in the Hall of Fame.
It should already happen. She's making history left and right.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts. It's like, yeah, go ahead and let her in. I'd be cool with that, man.
So there's not a WWE Network special show pay-per-view, thank Christ, to talk about tonight. So one of the things I thought we would do is talk about some of the wrestling pay-per-views that we've attended together.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I'll go ahead and tell you, I have hit a history of witnessing some of the absolute worst nights in professional wrestling ever.
Including
We
got it. We'll get to it, baby. We were there.
Just wait.
Yeah, wait, hang in there.
Wait, Mama. Hold on, Mama. Daddy's got you.
We got something else for you.
The very first show I ever went to in my life, period, was, I believe it was January 7th, 1999. The Georgia Dome, the Finger Poke of Death, was the first show I'd ever been to. And that was back in the days when, to go to see WCW Nitro, we went to buy our tickets the day of at the Georgia Dome. You had to enter a lottery to buy tickets. And it's not as bad as I make it sound when I say you enter a lottery. We were in like rows of people standing, like, 50 or however many people in a row, then 51 to 100, 101 to 149, whatever it was. And they would randomly draw a number. If they draw number 27, well, the first row gets to go first. And it worked out where we didn't have to wait all morning, but it was dang near all morning. There was a huge crowd there because Goldberg was there signing autographs. Got my tickets. So myself, my dad, my sister, and boyfriend of hers at the time went. Had an awesome time until it's one of those kind of nights I knew that wasn't supposed to happen, and I was supposed to be mad at this, but didn't really understand how mad I was supposed to be until years later. When you stop and think about and realize what I saw, and it's, it makes me more and more mad every day. But at the same time, there's nothing I can do about it. So anyway, that was the very first show I'd ever been to, and we actually went to a show that I know probably you've erased from your memory. At the Georgia Dome. It was another Nitro where all I remember about it, and it is on the network. I know I've looked it up. It was Google Nitro, Georgia Dome, and Megadeth. Megadeth played after Nitro that night.
That.
Oh Lord! They had a soundtrack on the Universal Soldier 2 soundtrack, and that was the whole deal they were there for.
Speaking of Criterion releases, where's
Absolutely.
that one?
Get on that.
You jerks.
Jean-Claude, sign that contract.
Do it, baby.
I remember Kevin Nash and Randy Savage in the main event. There's not much else to remember about that show. Flair was there, guys like that, but he just came out and just pretty much talked and didn't really do anything. I think David Flair had a match with Buff Bagwell or something like that.
Man.
So we've seen some good stuff.
Well, but Buff Bagwell versus David Flair, otherwise known as the Tiger Mask versus Dynamite Kid of the 90s. You're lucky we got to see that one.
When these shows first started coming to mind, I didn't want to count non-pay-per-views and shows we've been to together, but I was like, you know what? So what?
Yeah, might as well. I'm with you. It's like it's fun.
Because first and foremost, one of the next shows we went to, I'm pretty sure that was the next one. It's on the WrestleMania 20 DVD. No, we didn't go to WrestleMania 20,
No,
even though I would have tried to swing that, but it's in 2004. It just didn't happen. But there is a match on here from a Raw at the Gwinnett Center.
Yeah, buddy.
In beautiful Gwinnett, Georgia. Let's see where it's listed on here. Somewhere.
Yeah, man.
The match was.
I'm with you. I know what's on there, brother.
It was the Dudley Boys and
It's Lance Storm.
Lance Storm and Chief Morley.
Yeah. I was going to say Val Venus. I forgot he changed his name by then.
Yeah, it's the same difference.
Yeah, man.
You just have to trust me that it's on here. And this is all still stuff from the show, all extra stuff. So anyway, the fact of the matter is it's on here. And that's what was so cool. It was one of the best matches we've ever seen leading up to WrestleMania 20.
It was. I remember, like, we're sitting there watching this match. And it's just one of those cool things, man. I thought about the movie Patterson the other day of having this, like, almost subsonic effect on you, where you just, like, have this unspoken, like, my God, this is special. But, like, 3 or 4 different times during that match, we're just like, God, this is amazing. We were just, like, having this conversation, like, this might be the best match I've ever seen. And then the DVD comes out, and they put it as a bonus, and we were, like, so, like, jazzed. Like, that's awesome that they put that on there, because it's awesome. Still one of my favorites, man. Every time I, like, update my top 10, it always makes it.
It's one of the loudest chop smacks I remember hearing was Bubba Ray, and I'm pretty sure it was Lance who took this chop. That was just like, good.
Something like the Dudley's pyro went off again.
Yeah. So that was cool. So I had to include that in the list.
I totally agree. That's awesome. I'm glad you brought that because I was looking at it and I'm like,
was it? I know it wasn't WrestleMania 20.
Yeah, I don't remember going to that. No, I just didn't put it together, and then you got talking about the bonuses. I'm like, yeah, that's what it was.
It's on there.
That was radical. We've seen some good stuff, and we'll get to it. Well, there's like the pay-per-views are hurtful. Some of them are.
Yeah.
But there's been a couple of matches we've seen in person that were pretty dope.
It was leading up to WrestleMania 20, so it had to be in February sometime. You can Google Raw at Arena at Gwinnett Center. I think it goes by a different name now, Infinite Energy Center, or something like that.
It could be, man. I should know because I just don't. I'm they changed it to something, but you'll find it. Yeah. It's cool. If it's Gwinnett or Duluth, you're in the right place because they can't decide what zip code the building is actually in.
Yeah, that's still topic of contention.
Dude, there's like the best concert I ever went to. I saw 9 Inch Nails there. And it is so funny trying to find that set list because it's like the arena at Gwinnett, Duluth, Georgia. I'm like, what are you doing to me?
/ performing arts.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, man. The address is like 1717 Peachtree, so that doesn't help anybody in this state.
an event that took place at the exact same arena that nobody knows where it is.
Yeah, for real.
Was Armageddon. I believe this was 2005-ish or 2004.
Yeah. December 04. You knew it was 2005.
Yeah.
Good job.
So it was right there. This was this was not the best card. The best card, brother.
The best wrestling bill.
The bill. Starting from the bottom, you have Miss Jackie versus Dawn Marie. Charlie Haas is the special guest referee. The Dixie Dogfight. That's what they called the Tough Enough final between Daniel Puder and Mike Mizanin.
I guess that's why I hate that guy so much. Is that I'm coming around.
Got to see.
I'm coming around, but we got to see him early and hated him in the beginning.
Whatever happened to Daniel Puder? Because I mean, he won the thing.
Yeah.
They had like this boxing match with headgear on and everything, and Miz was still getting just rocked.
Yeah.
But that was like the final.
I think so.
And it never didn't do anything after that.
I'm pretty sure it was Kurt Angle's arm that got him fired. That little key lock he put on Angle, and it's like. And the thing that's funny about that is people still go, Dave Puder, man, they beat up Kurt Angle. It's like, tell Kurt Angle it's going to be a shoot and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm only saying, Daniel Puder's a tough guy. He beat up The Miz. You're a tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's the thing is, like, if you shoot on a dude, we talk about it a lot with the McGregor-Mayweather thing, where people, there are fans that took McGregor seriously. It was like, well, maybe I'll forget the rules and just shoot on him. And they got all excited. Like, yeah, he's going to break his freaking leg. It's going to be awesome. It's like, oh, first things first. This is all about the money.
Mm-hmm.
You break the contract, you forfeit the money. Then you get taken to court on criminal charges and you forfeit all your other money. McGregor's way smarter than these idiots that are pulling for him. If you think that's the dumbest thing, and that's if you get out alive, because the deal is...
Yeah, if he takes down Floyd, he's going to get shot at with bullets.
McGregor's security team, that's assault. If you are hired by someone to be a security team and you see your asset being assaulted, you can kill that person.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. You don't have to brandish a pistol at the president for the Secret Service to rock your world.
Yeah.
If they interpret you as a threat, you're a threat.
Yep.
Threats get neutralized, and that's it. It's like, he's not that dumb, y'all. Stop it. But that's the same thing. It's like, we're going to roll around. Puder and Angle are going to roll around, and Kurt's doing what he does because he's an Olympic wrestler. So Puder grabs his arm and key locks him and tries to break his arm, and Angle's like, okay. So that's the whole thing. Oh man, Daniel Puder beat up Kurt Angle. Let him shoot, find out what happens. Shoot. Ask Brock Lesnar what happens when you shoot with Kurt Angle. Didn't go well for him either.
Further up the card, it's the Cruiserweight title match with Spike Dudley and Funaki. No recollection of that whatsoever.
Me neither. I don't remember that at all.
A tag team title match with RVD and Rey Mysterio versus Kenzo Suzuki and Rene Dupree. I remember Kenzo Suzuki. I don't remember him being at that show. Oh, this was another great one. A 3-on-1 handicap. The Big Show versus Luther Reigns, Mark Jindrak, and Kurt Angle. If I remember right, Kurt Angle came out dressed as Santa Claus at that show for some reason.
That's pretty cool. I don't remember it, but
it was around Christmas. So.
Yeah, it was.
In street fight for the United States Championship, John Cena versus Jesus with Carlito in his corner. And that was probably, was that his first title he ever won?
It might have been during the first reign as U.S. champ. And we've talked many times before about Cena. I'm pretty sure it was you. No, maybe he was the world champ by then. But Cena versus Umaga and how good it was.
Yeah.
And I always transpose those matches, and it was good. That was a good match, but for some reason I conned myself into thinking I was there for that, and I was not. I was there for this.
Yeah.
But that was really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I totally forgot that that was a different thing. Because I know no way it could have been Umaga, but that was it was real good. Like, it was whenever, Cena was still Cena doing the same moves, but I remember it was like, well, you give him like a stipulation match, and he was real creative. He did cool in that one.
At some point in that storyline, like Carlito had stabbed John Cena or something like that. Something like pretty hardcore, and it culminated in a match with him and Jesus, the bodyguard of Carlito at the time. And the match that I went there to see, I wanted so bad to see The Undertaker win this match, but it was a fatal 4-way for the WWE Championship. Champion JBL versus The Undertaker, Eddie Guerrero, and Booker T. This match, it gets forgotten about for not being that good, but it really was.
I thought it was too.
And unfortunately, it's remembered for being the match that Heidenreich interferes and starts his feud with The Undertaker that everybody loved.
Yeah, because all things John Heidenreich are remembered fondly by wrestling fans. But yeah, that was the thing, was it was so cool, because I mean, this, like, the intro, like Taker coming back to that show was monstrous. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Eddie Guerrero mark, so it's neat to say you're in the same building with Eddie. And again, because we talked about going to the Nitros and stuff, it's all good. But that it was cool, man. And it's so messed up that you've got, no offense to JBL, but I mean, 75% of that match is pretty slamming talent, man. It was good. It's just like you said, the stupid run-in was very frustrating. But it's cool. I totally remember that. But I'm glad you busted out that Cena match, because I remember seeing him live and being really impressed. And now I know what it was. It's very cool. I do still kind of wish it was Carlito, because I think Carlito and Cena could have had a real good match.
Yeah.
I think Carlito could have a good match with me. But it would be cool. Carlito versus Cena would have been fun.
What we missed out on.
Yeah. I tell you who else I think could have had a great match, a good time machine match, is Cena and Flair. They could kill it. Because we were talking about that, about what everyone whines, and they're right to do it. I do it too. I'm about to do it right now. We all fuss about, WWE signing Ric Flair and not giving us Flair and Hogan. I mean, just think about the most generic Hulk Hogan match you've ever seen and the most generic Ric Flair match you've ever seen, and lay them over the top of each other. That'd have been entertaining as crap.
Yep.
That would have been so much fun, man.
Yep. Speaking of not fun.
Oh, my God.
And barely entertaining. Was
entertaining that we've gotten so many punchlines out of it since then. I did not realize. We did not know the whole world was going to do that. It's cool. It's nice having the fraternity of misery.
Yeah, it was the ECW reboot happened, and then they announced they were going to have their first ECW pay-per-view in 5 years at the time.
Yes.
And we're like, not only that, it's going to be in Augusta, Georgia. And
yes.
I'm like, that's like down 20. We could do that in like 2.5, 3 hours if we're lucky. See how it goes. And we were both in that house for December to Dismember.
That's right. The only 2 copies of that DVD that were ever sold were to us, because we wanted the souvenir. We wanted to be able to tell people, yep,
sorry,
I was there.
It's my fault.
Let's put it on. Let's watch that. No.
It's the only reason I've kept it. I mean, it's not like anybody's going to buy it. But this was a show that, man, I was looking forward to for some reason.
Me too.
And we really have good luck on tag team matches early on the card.
It's very true.
Because to this day, I mean, I don't care what anybody says about the show. The show is, known for what it's known for, being like the lowest buy rate in history and the worst Elimination Chamber match ever. The first match was awesome. The first match was the Hardy Boys. Because you love the Hardy Boys so much.
Don't you love the Hardy Boys? Delete!
Versus Eminem, who is Johnny Mundo, Johnny Morrison, whatever you want to call him, Joey Mercury, and Melina. Got to see Melina, and I remember, we'll never forget, walking out of that show, everybody had realized what we had saw at this point. We were kind of disappointed, and just the guy walking out saying, "Man, I got to see Melina do the split in person."
Yeah, that was it.
Worth the drive, brother.
He was perfectly content. It is funny to see her do that in person, only because, like, even the people, and this is messed up. I mean, obviously all the dudes love it, but there is this weird whoosh that happens when she does. Like, even the people booing that are unhappy stop. It was just like deer in the headlights stuff, man. But I totally agree with you, and I'm glad they at least had the decency to put the 5 of them on the back of the box, because it was cool. It was neat to see the Hardys in person. I always thought Eminem was a little. We always liked Eminem. I thought they were kind of cool, man. Good. So it was just to see that was a cool match.
And there's a lot of ECW original people that were at this show.
Not Sabu, but
yeah, that sucked. Balls Mahoney versus Matt Stryker. Elijah Burke and Sylvester Turkey versus the FBI. That's one that they're still waiting for something to follow that in the James Brown Arena, brother.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I was excited about the show, because I'm a James Brown mark, so it was cool to be in the building that was named after him. We'll get to that in a minute.
Mike Knox and Kelly versus Kevin Thorne and Ariel. She was a cool vampire chick.
Oh,
I was into at the time.
Yeah, I can dig that.
There was Tommy Dreamer versus Davari was on that show.
Yeah, I remember seeing Tommy in person just because it's like you were saying, like the originals. It's kind of cool to be like Tommy Dreamer, check. That's just pretty cool.
And what got you in the car and down 20 to the James Brown Arena was the Elimination Chamber for the ECW Championship. It was the Big Show, RVD, CM Punk, Test. Man, he made his mark in ECW.
He sure did.
Hardcore Holly and Bobby Lashley. To this day, the biggest pop, I don't care what you say about what he's done since, the biggest pop Bobby Lashley has and will ever get was when he moved the table so we could see what was going on in the Elimination Chamber.
It's true.
Each pod had a weapon in it that they were going to be able to come out and use in the match that nobody really used. Of course, the corner that we're sitting at, the corner that Sandman walked right past us on.
Yeah,
speaking of originals,
that was the coolest thing that happened that whole night.
I got some beer on me.
I was in the picture that the website put up of him. It's cool.
I was like, y'all couldn't have bumped over one more person.
It was shitty. I'm like, there was like one person that's be like, that's like, dude, I can at least have my tag team partner with me.
So, the corner we're sitting in is Bobby Lashley's corner. Lucky us.
Yes.
And he gets the table.
Yep.
That they set up vertically.
So we got the table. We're doing this all night.
A move the table chant started. He finally heard it and did that for us. It's the biggest pop he has and will ever get.
Oh, dude, when he went to TNA and started cleaning house there, man, and they started going crazy for him, he was like, man, I miss the James Brown Arena. That's the best feeling ever, man. That was awesome.
They understood me.
They loved me.
Now, like what Josh was talking about, Sabu was, I was trying to say advertised in Sabu. Sabu was advertised to be in the Elimination Chamber match. But I was excited. I was like, I've never got to see this guy live. I want to be able to say I saw that.
Tommy Dreamer. And even more so because it's Sabu. I totally agree. And also, Rob Van Dam, too, for an ECW pay-per-view. I mean, we'd seen him, but it's, oh, man, it's ECW.
Yeah. And so, midway through the show, they cut to this backstage promo of frickin' Sabu on his face. He got knocked out by God knows who. I don't really care.
Great Khali.
Yeah.
The returning Great Khali.
Kenzo Suzuki and Khali.
That's right, man.
Tag teamed him. So that was a bummer. Even more of a bummer is everybody knows Bobby Lashley ends up winning, but it's after CM Punk and RVD start off the match and are the first two eliminated.
Dude, we discussed
so now
that.
The whole building is like, F this.
Yeah,
Screw
because
it.
Even before they came out there, man, it was neat. You know, you get like everybody does callbacks now, and that's okay. Everybody did callbacks then. But I mean, before the show starts, RVD CM Punk, just calling back and respond the whole night, even when like in between other people's matches. They come out there, and of course it goes to a new level. Everybody is chanting one or the other. They're the first two guys in, the first two guys out of there. So it was like, good job, y'all. Way to read the crowd. It was awful. And it's not, if you want Bobby Lashley to win, fine. But to get both of them out of there so early and to be left with Lashley, Big Show, freaking Hardcore Holly, who I'm pretty sure was Sabu's replacement. I think that's he just went and got him, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And I don't remember who the other guy was now.
Tests.
Oh yeah, that's glorious.
Andrew.
Yep, those are the four guys. Those are the four guys you need to come down to. It was a terrible show anyway. It wasn't terrible. It just wasn't good. The Sabu thing disappointed people, and the main event was just such a disaster.
Yeah, that's the WWE version of ECW. Doesn't get remembered fondly, but there was some good stuff, and every once in a while. But that was one of those nights where it's like, man, this is over.
Yeah,
there's no way this is lasting.
It was fascinating to me that they decided to go to TNA with in my opinion, it's just my opinion, because TNA has had some good talent that they have never done anything with, including AJ Styles. AJ Styles held that belt multiple times, and that's neat that he's the champ. But is it just me, or is the only champion they ever had that ever got other people talking with Christian?
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with the new ECW when they brought Christian. Christian's ECW champ. Hey, Vince McMahon was.
Yeah.
But he did good. It was awesome. When you looked at the ECW title, it was almost more like a TV title, and you put Christian on TV. It was awesome. That was a lot of fun, man. I enjoyed those days. But and I say that to back you up, but like, it did stink, but there was good stuff there too.
Yeah. Another terrible night for ECW was.
Oh my gosh.
Backlash from the Phillips Arena. This was 2007, and this was another good Hardys match on here, but I believe it kicked off with Chris Benoit versus MVP.
I do remember that.
That was very good.
That was awesome. I remember that because I always thought MVP was so overrated, and they stuck him and Benoit in that U.S. title program forever. And it's like, well, all these are good. It was good. It was cool.
And then there was another sad night for ECW was a 3-on-1 handicap match. Bobby Lashley, the ECW champion at the time, versus Mr. McMahon, Shane McMahon, and Umaga.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the figure. That's the defining moment I want them to make is Vince with the ECW title.
champ Vince. See, you can't even mention that without me yawning. I just yawned because that's painful. Too painful. But yeah, Skullcap Vince McMahon with the ECW title would be a fun figure.
Yeah, this is right after the shaved his head at WrestleMania.
Right after the current president of the United States shaved his head, man.
History of man.
That's right, man. Seriously, dude. We're gonna make Backlash great again. Donald totally made Backlash great again.
It's a last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship. The Undertaker was the champion versus Batista. I remember that being really, really good.
Me too, which is weird because I've never been a Batista guy, but I like Undertaker so much I get excited every time I see him, and it's like, you know what, that was just plain cool.
It was one of those matches. The finish was like spear. I think spear from Batista. The Undertaker takes down the whole stage, but the Undertaker ends up standing up after the carnage, or neither answered, something like that. One of the best women's matches I've ever seen was this night.
Yes, it was.
The women's championship match, Melina versus Mickie James. That was very good.
The best women's match I've ever seen. We both saw it. I'm pretty sure it was at a Raw, and it was, for Pete's sake, it was Victoria and Molly Holly.
Yeah.
And I mean, they tore that sucker down, and it stunk too because that was during the era when if it wasn't Trish, nobody watched. But for the 9 of us that stayed in our seats and didn't go pee, we really liked it. It was awesome. But after that, that was a good match because Melina, I don't know if she can work or not. It'll be fun. And that was good, man. That was a cool match.
And it's nice to, I think this was after Eminem had broke up. I think both of them were probably gone at the time. It was nice to her moving on and doing something.
The solo thing. I think you're right.
The World Tag Team Championship match with the Hardys versus Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch. That's a tag team that I really liked.
I did too, man. I liked them a bunch. Like all 4 of those guys. Was very excited about it because I'm a tag team mark, man. Yeah. I remember being really excited about Benoit because I loved Benoit.
Oh, yeah.
And then that match for what I was, and just to see Undertaker. I wasn't excited because it was Batista, and then they had it, and I'm like, you should have been excited. It was really cool. But those were the 2 that I was the most into.
I got to see Taker a few times.
Yeah,
I think that was my second time getting to see him, so I wasn't. It was still special.
I'm pretty sure my first one was the one we just talked about. I think that was first, and then I know the Rumble. We'll discuss that, and we'll get there.
I went to a Royal Rumble in 2002 at Phillips Arena, and that was the first time it was during the American Badass version, so I didn't really get it. But I appreciated it a lot more when he went back.
Yeah.
So that match was awesome. One thing I didn't know, Lance Cade isn't with us anymore.
I did not know that.
He passed away a few years ago.
Man, that sucks, dude.
And Trevor Murdoch and the Hardys are. The main event was a fatal 4-way for the WWE Championship. John Cena, the champion, versus Shawn Michaels, Edge, and Randy Orton.
Now that is, I'll just go ahead and tell you, that is going to play on the network forever just because of who's in it. I mean, that's taking like personal preferences.
Every bit of Hall of Famer right there.
Yeah, like personal preferences aside and just what's popular and what's over and what people are into. I mean, you got to be kidding me. That is bonanners, man.
This Backlash pay-per-view, the next one I'm about to talk about, started my seeing classic Edge matches streak. And he didn't win the match, so it wasn't. I don't think Edge will put that on his favorites of all time, but it was cool to see. He's one of the guys I always liked.
It was cool, man.
And that, that's one of those matches that it will probably make a best of Cena.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Cena Orton might get it too, just because again, I mean, I just read the names that are in it. It would look good on the back of a DVD.
Yep. And so that brings us to I think the last show we went to together.
To this day, my retirement WWE pay-per-view, because I'm just like, it's the mountaintop, man. Just
never gonna get better than this.
Oh my God, man!
It's the Royal Rumble 2010.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to believe this was 2010.
Yeah.
And that long ago.
Yeah, for real, because I still remember it so vividly. It's like, that wasn't that long ago. I'm not that dude.
So, they started the show off with the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
Sheamus versus Randy Orton. Don't remember that being very good, but I'm sure it probably was. And I still am kind of into Sheamus.
Yeah, me too. I like that dude.
There was the World Heavyweight Championship match, Undertaker versus Rey Mysterio. That's a match that it would do yourself a favor and go watch it. It was really, really good.
That is on that.
I'm not a Mysterio dude.
Neither am I.
But it was very good.
Ray is weird. Ray is that. I always complain that I don't get Randy Orton, and I don't get Randy Orton. Rey Mysterio, I totally get. He's just not my guy. I get it. Yeah. I get why people like him, and he's very, very cool and very, very unique. But my thing with Ray is it really depends who he's in there with, and if they're willing to feed and under. I mean, there's a reason that the best matches the guy ever had is against like Eddie Guerrero, and in this case, The Undertaker.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Chris Jericho.
Jericho. Oh my God, that series, that Intercontinental Championships, or I'm sorry, the IC was different. Maybe it was. But anyway, the Mass series was like shut down, fantastic. Awesome. Good God, don't miss any of them. But yeah, Mysterio versus Undertaker, we were both like so into it. And it was neat too because we'd seen Undertaker, but this was like a championship solo Undertaker match. He killed no Mark Jindrak, not Jindrak, but Heidenreich.
Oh,
no Heidenreich, no malarkey,
no
malarkey, none of that junk. It was just awesome, man. And it's another thing that I love when you've got the Undertaker, who's the 6'10", dead man, can't be hurt, can't be stopped, ultimate kick booty robot wrestler against a 5'7" dude, and he's like, it's a clinic on selling. I despise when big dudes won't sell. I love it when guys sell for each other. I was of course, because I just exist to diss Baron Corbin. But it is the one thing we were talking about that I really do like is he does try and put punches and moves over. I like that. He's got that slow stagger like Neil sell, which is good because you're big and it's like, okay, to make him look bad. Well, don't take the flat back bump. But when somebody hits you with something big and you kind of that part of his work I really like, and he's got a couple moves that are cool. And I think Baron could be real cool. It's maybe just not my thing, but I do love that he sells for the love of Pete, especially as young as he is. It's good for that.
I mean, and there's a 3-match streak in this show that they could have just called Beer Run. Where
had to file a taker or something. We were all high after that.
Yeah, it's not fair. And I'm assuming this is the order they were. I'm pretty sure it was. ECW Championship match between Christian versus Ezekiel Jackson, which I think that was the last time it was defended.
I think so too.
Ezekiel won it, and then they just retired.
And then that was it. And that was the whole point. Was it was just have Christian put some guy over and make him look good. And of course, Ezekiel Jackson looked great because if you're in the ring with Christian and his job is to make you look good, you will. But
imagine a Big E that just has nothing going.
No personality.
Ezekiel Jackson.
Yeah, that's him. The other Big E.
Yeah.
The lesser Big E.
The women's championship match between Michelle McCool and Mickie James. I want to say this was where the Piggy James stuff started, or right when it was finishing up. I never liked that.
Me neither.
I thought that was
ridiculous.
Bad.
Because Mickie James is fly. It's just unbelievable to have like a healthy, athletic girl. That's the fat girl for real. Okay, all right, y'all. That stuff was so stupid, and I understand Michelle McCool's Undertaker's girl, so she can do whatever she wants to. But that was stupid. That was everybody's pick. Katie Vick is usually everyone's pick as the worst thing they've ever done. But Piggy James is pretty well trashed as well. I'm glad, because that's just dumb.
Yeah.
Fat jokes are stupid. Make a fat joke to Nia Jax. I'd love that. Oh, baby. I would love that. I would love to have her and Alexa Bliss break up over Alexa making a fat joke, and then she gets to reduce Alexa to a stain.
That could happen.
That would be great, because the thing is, if you want one of them as a heel and one as a babyface, Nia Jax's babyface is interesting.
Yeah.
It's the big squashing Terminator, because she smiles all the time anyway. That'd be awesome.
That was just of the stuff that happened when I was watching. I wasn't watching during the Katie Vick
Me
thing.
neither. All I know is secondhand on that.
I've heard about it, and I've seen clips of it, but this was one of the things I remember happening, just like being uncomfortable almost, like, y'all sure y'all want to do this with little kids?
Yeah.
Little girl kids?
Yeah.
Watching, that's bad taste.
Yeah. And that is the super positive thing about it now, is there's so many more young girls. Like we talked about the Barbie dolls at San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm nitpicky because it makes me mad that Nikki Bella's the only one they tried to make look like her. But the idea of just
They're
like,
not
hey,
that bad.
No, it's cool. It's a great idea, especially with like if you still want to market to little girls. I wish they would. It's cool, man.
That's been my argument for, not necessarily defending the PG era, but for it to understand that it's never going away anytime soon.
Of course.
When you point out to people that the company that makes their action figures and their toys make Barbie, and now they are going to literally be Barbies. Learn to love it. Learn to deal with it.
This is the deal. I love economics. I think they're very interesting. And as many red-blooded, flag-waving, capitalist-loving Americans want to gripe about the frickin' PG era, it's called capitalism, friend. You know how much money they're making? Get out. Sorry. It's the same thing. It's the same problem I have with them wanting, like, oh man, don't dress Lana like a freaking stripper. You've come past that.
Yeah.
Selling women's wrestling as women's wrestling is going to make you a heck of a lot more money. Bayley's made more money on t-shirts for you idiots than I love Trish. Trish Stratus was an awesome performer, but as far as generating revenue, as far as making you money, dude, Bayley and Sasha alone have you been a brand new stratosphere. And if you want to keep selling toys and you want to sell action figures to girls in the form of Barbies, who cares? Look, as long as there's something on the card that I enjoy watching, that's okay. But Cena being a big superhero, Roman Reigns being a big superhero, which Roman, we discussed that earlier, right? Roman Reigns needs to turn heel. John Cena needs to turn heel. By definition, you boo the heels, right? Well, they already are then. The kids like them. So you want them to be heels for little kids so they'll be cool again and you can pull for them. That's not going to happen because the publicly traded company says we're doing better we're doing better this way. And you're still watching. If you weren't still watching, you couldn't complain about it. So as long as you keep watching and these little kids get to watch too, why is it a problem? That stuff never bothered me.
So, next up is the United States Championship match with The Miz and MVP. I trust that it was okay because I sat through it. And then it was the 30-man Royal Rumble match. What people argue which was the best over time. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely the recent.
Our mutual favorite pay-per-view. So getting to go see it live, I'll admit it was biased for me, but we've gone back and watched this again. I mean, 92 is extraordinary.
Yeah.
But 2010 is fantastic. It is
92,
a great Royal Rumble.
92, 2000, 2002, that's more biased for me. And 2010.
Yeah.
Are ones that I would put up there as like some of the best.
The 02 Rumble I love because that Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit match is what got me back into wrestling. Because the NWO stuff pretty much just turned me off. I didn't like it. So I was doing other stuff. It was all good, man. And it was just, oh man, Chris Benoit. I used to love him when he was on WCW. Let's go see this match. So I went to a freaking Hooters to watch a pay-per-view. It tells you how desperate I was. Thank God for Buffalo Wild Wings. And it was exceptional. I got so into it and it was so much fun, man. We'll discuss pay-per-views that we've watched together if you want us to, because there was that, and then Undertaker Shawn Michaels, which is one of the greatest atmospheres, probably the best atmosphere I've ever seen for a wrestling match, because everybody had a side. Everybody, when we saw Michaels, and this is the first Michaels Undertaker, everybody was one or the other.
Yeah.
And I was glad my side won. But it was cool because people were real into it, man. Not like RVD CM Punk, because there was no animosity there.
Yeah.
The HBK stuff got ugly because most of the people pulling for him were girls, and they got huffy. They got real mad that you weren't pulling for their guy, and so it got pretty ugly. Not, Rousey home ugly, or Rousey Nunez. That was, you watch the reaction videos on that, boy, you see a whole lot of upset little folk. So sad.
But
research your fighters. If you know Amanda Nunes would kill her, you don't deserve to watch the UFC.
What makes this match so cool and awesome to me is there've been all these rumors flying around all day. With Edge was spotted at Hartsfield.
Yeah.
Is he coming back? Is he not coming back? And sure enough, I think like number 27 or 28, somewhere late, the music hit and
the building collapsed.
And that was awesome. In the middle of the Rumble, awesome CM Punk promo.
I'm not going to interrupt you. I'll just tack on to the end.
It was just clearing house. It was during the Straight Edge Society time period. Yeah, I just thought it was awesome.
For all the talk, we have had this conversation amongst ourselves before, and now we'll have it with you guys too. For all the talk of the pipe bomb and the pipe bomb, oh my God, the pipe bomb! The greatest promo that kid ever cut was Royal Rumble 2010 because it was creative and absolutely hilarious. Nobody had ever done anything like that before. It's just awesome because he's in there and he comes out real early because you always have the one dude that gets in very early, and sometimes Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, they're there to win it. Rey Mysterio, I think, went wire to wire. That sometimes you have a young dude get in there and he's supposed to be in there for about half an hour to get him over. That's exactly what Straw Punk drew this year. And he's wearing, if I remember correctly, he was wearing his Atlanta Falcons gear because it was all like, maybe for him it'd probably be Chicago Blackhawks gear, but it looked like Falcons gear to us.
Predominantly red.
Yeah, a lot of red, a lot of black, man. So, comes out and eliminates everybody, grabs the microphone, starts trying to convert people in the audience, and it's all good. And then the timer comes down, the guy comes, he gets all nervous. I wish I could tell you who it was, puts it down and gets in there, kind of runs away and does the heel thing, and winds up eliminating that guy too. Grabs the mic again and picks up right where he left off.
Before I was so rudely interrupted.
That's the best. That is my favorite promo I ever saw that kid cut. That's saying something because Punk's a great promo, but that's my favorite one. One of my favorite things on that show was how entertaining that was, man.
That was a funny spot. So eliminated somebody, and I think Gallows gets in, so now he has backup.
Yeah, okay.
And it was like Zack Ryder, and this was like 2010, so Zack Ryder was just like really starting to become the guy that never got pushed.
Yeah, for real.
And he's in the ring, and he's doing his cowardly heel thing, like, oh, you have potential. You have potential for the Straight Edge Society. Right when he gets him kind of like, okay, boom. the microphone just goes. I love it when they would do that. And you could just hear it all over, like, oh.
Yeah, because the mic is reacting. It just makes that horrible clunk sound, man.
So, got to see Edge at Backlash. Got to see Edge win the Royal Rumble. Yeah. And the first ever WrestleMania I did go to was in Atlanta, the Georgia Dome, WrestleMania 27, where little did we know we were seeing Edge's last match that night. And so that's, just some people that's probably not a big deal. That was a big deal to me. I thought it was cool.
I think it's amazing what a chapter Atlanta is in Edge's career. When you put the comeback in there and then the last title, I mean that's unbelievable when you think about it, man. It's the same building too. No, I'm sorry. Mania was at the Dome, wasn't it? I apologize. Yeah. That's right. Phillips is a great basketball arena, but they don't have WrestleMania basketball arenas. I have to think about that.
The company's would be on hard times if that's.
That would be difficult. Yeah. That'd be very, very difficult, man. You have to have people hanging off the Lou Hudson banner by 7, 8, 9 of them just hanging on, man. Yeah, dude. One of the cool things this goes back to something I said a minute ago about I'm not saying reading the crowd. I know nobody. I said that earlier, but that was a stupid expression because nobody calls stuff on the fly. And again, if you want Lashley to win, have Lashley win. But having those two guys go out first, you had to know how stupid that was. Yeah. On the total opposite end of that spectrum, giving the people what they want. Because obviously Cena, John Cena, people act like Roman Reigns getting booed is brand new. I can't imagine how many of these people are 11 years old and have never seen John Cena actually do his thing. Yeah. Cena was as hated, probably more hated than Roman Reigns, because at least Roman Reigns gets nice pops when he does cool moves. John Cena got booed no matter what he did. Yeah. So anyway, back to the point. Cena getting booed in the Royal Rumble is not that big of a deal. I mean, we want Edge to win, so that's cool, but that's not, Cena's going to win, boo. Well, that would have been whether Edge came back or not. But when you have conquering hero Mr. Man HBK getting booed out of the building because people are afraid that he's going to win instead of Edge, that's when people really want Edge to win. And it's weird that Shawn Michaels is always that litmus test, because at WrestleMania 20, every single time. First of all, I was still mad he was even in that match. I wanted Triple H and Chris Benoit one-on-one because I don't despise Triple H. Chris Benoit could have a good match with anybody. It would have been cool anyway. But no, we got to put Shawn in there. Let's put Shawn in there. Okay, so you put Shawn in there. That's fine and dandy. And it really is one of those nights I feel kind of bad saying this because I try to not hate Shawn Michaels as much as I used to because his matches entertain the crap out of me. But that's one where you see the mask slip because he gets so frustrated when the people boo him because he was supposed to, I don't know if they were going to have some moment where he shook Chris's hand at the end or some kind of anointing or whatever, man, but he really believed that he was supposed to get cheered in that match, and then it just felt like a pass the baton thing. Oh, it had been passed. Yeah. We all wanted, everybody wanted Benoit. Yeah. And it just seemed to really frustrate him when he got booed. I mean, he did his job. He cut his head off, gigging himself in that one spot where you can actually see him, down. It's like, come on, Shawn, get over it, man. But that was a cool match. It was good. I'm glad Chris won. Eddie's match on that show was amazing. You get the nice moment at the end. It's sad now, but it was great then. But that's moments where you give people what they want. And for some reason, Shawn Michaels is always the barometer. If he's in there and getting booed, by God, you know who the people want to see win, man.
That's saying something.
That's it, yeah, because it's like, I'm not pulling against Shawn Michaels for anything.
Man, might have got a little bit long-winded today, but bear with us.
So. The last two we've done great.
So, sorry.
It's good stuff, man. Seriously, and watch Mysterio and Undertaker if you haven't seen it in a while. Oh my God, it's good.
Heck yeah. There's one match from that. Definitely watch that and watch the whole 2010 Royal Rumble show.
Yeah, the Rumble itself, man. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys in the next one.
Take it easy, y'all.
Bye.